Yo, fantasy community, welcome to Proper Things, the FPL show brought to you by TT FPL Pro-League, episode 17. So how y'all doing? Well, last week, I left with the question, could your boy get back-to-back green arrows? And the answer to that question was yes. So we're here with a rejoiceful tone, a mood of celebration, but we'll get more into that later in the show. So we kicking things off hot and sweaty, or quick and easy, with the review of Gameweek 13. Well, to kick things off in Gameweek 13, we had a rocket buster between City and Liverpool. It fizzled out a little bit as that one ended 1-1. Then we moved on to West Ham getting the narrow victory versus Burnley. No Bowen, but 3 points, 2-1 in that one. Luton defeated Palace 2-1. Newcastle busted up Chelsea to the tune of a 4-1 victory. Brighton scraped past Forest 3-2 in that one. The Cherries of Bournemouth defeated Sheffield 3-1. Arsenal scraped by due to King Kai's late goal 1-0 versus Brentford. Spurs went down again to Aston Villa 1-2 Villa with the victory there. United defeated Everton 3-0, and finally Fulham controversially defeated the Wolves 3-2 to Willian penalties in that one. So with the reviews signed and delivered, we now move to the preview of Game Week 14, or on this show we call it the Goat Mouth segment, where I give you the predictions for the games this upcoming Game Week 14. So the first game is Arsenal versus Wolves. I expect Arsenal to win this one 2-0. Also expect the Honeybees to defeat Luton 3-1, so Brentford winning there. Burnley and Sheffield play out a 1-1 draw. Everton defeat Forest 2-1. Newcastle defeat Manchester United as well 2-1. Aston Villa defeat Bournemouth 2-0, a rare clean sheet in that one. Chelsea defeat Brighton 2-1. Have Liverpool winning by their favourite scoreline 3-1 versus Fulham. West Ham United defeat Crystal Palace 2-1 as well. And Manchester City defeat Tottenham in the final game 3-1. So clean sheets you could clearly see will be at a premium this game week. And that ends the Goat Mouth segment, the Goat Mouth predictions for Game Week 14. Now that I have put the mockers on in the Goat Mouth segment, I move into the most anticipated segment here on the show, the segment aptly named after the title of the show. It's the Proper Things segment. Here we give you the picks that should be in your team now and going forward, as they are the centerpieces to FPL with our Proper Things picks. For the aggressive players, we have needle mover picks to help you raise your rank quickly, ASAP. Spirit milk means they have overstayed your welcome in your team and should be moved on ASAP as they have become net negatives, and wondering picks are the players you should keep a keen eye on now going forward to possibly make a move in the upcoming game weeks. So we starting, of course, with the Proper Things picks for Game Week 14, and last game week we had 2 hits and 1 miss. Of course, we had Haaland in the striking position returning 7 points. Saka, another drip feed with an assist, bonuses to the tune of 8 points, and Anderson now only whiff as he could only return 1 point for Crystal Palace. So this week we're looking to go 3 for 3, and the Proper Things defender pick is one of probably the only locked in premium must-have defenders in the game, not only for this show but in the entire game going forward. That's one William Saliba, now coming in at 5.5 million. Those who had the boy earlier or watching the show got a haircut on that price, maybe 5.1, 5.2, etc. But now at 5.5, it's a premium price, but trust me, he's worth every penny. Arsenal have Wolves coming to town this game week and 3 favorable fixtures on the horizon. And Saliba is as locked in as they come. I expect Arsenal to rack up some clean sheets, and Saliba has proven to return the odd goal here and there. So Saliba is on for a hole in the next 3. He's locked in, he has the fixtures, and he is a must-have going forward. So that's our Proper Things defender pick for Game Week 14. In midfield, We have a dynamic duo for those foot players out there. A premium, he's the king of FPL, the Egyptian king. Liverpool wing at the right side. Phenom in Mo Salah, coming in as well as at an impressive 30 million now. Again, with every penny, we've run out of superlatives to describe this guy. He is a point machine and plays Fulham again this game week. So if you don't have Mo Salah, don't know what you're doing, try to find a way to get the Egyptian king in for that 13 mil. And also, the second part of the dynamic duo this game week is one Brian and Buemo. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Coming in now at 7 million. Again, if you were watching the show, you got this guy at a haircut price on that 7 mil, maybe at 6.5. But now he's 7 and again worth every penny. I do know that there's a blank coming up in game week 18, but 14, 15, 16, a lot of damage could be done by this guy as he's third in XG only to the big two of Haaland and Salah. That's non-penalty XG. So Brian Mbuemo at 7 mil, it's a must-have, and I recommend and I beg that you find a way to get this guy in your team. So Salah and Mbuemo are your proper things midfielder picks for game week 14. And finally in attack, the Norwegian new squad, the hitman, the Man City forward, coming in at 14 mil, it's Erling Haaland. Again, no more superlatives to describe this guy. He's the fastest to 50 Premier League goals in the history of the league. That tells you how prolific this guy is. So if you don't have Erling Haaland, or you go in the no Haaland style way of playing, that time has come to an end, as Erling Haaland is a must-have. Again, your proper things forward pick for game week 14. So that wraps up the proper things segment for this game week. Now we move into the needle movers, which is one of my favorite segments. The needle movers is one of my favorite segments as this is for the aggressive players. If you're looking to rise rank ASAP immediately, these are the picks you could bring in for those quick points and those punts. And we will name it needle movers, but last week the needle was moving in the wrong direction for the first time in the 13 eps that we do this season. So far, we struck out in the needle movers. It was a tough week, so we recommended James, a disaster class from the English right back there, -3, a red card, and Chelsea getting 4 from Newcastle. Eze, injuries suck. Eze looked promising. Olise stepped up and got the points, but looks like Eze will also miss some time, returning 1 point. And Dom Solanke, Roman scored 3 goals, and Dom Solanke was nowhere to be found. It was just that kind of week for the needle mover picks. This week we promise a bounce back in form. And in the defensive needle movers pick, we have Zinchenko of Arsenal coming in at 5.0 million. I mean, defenders right now, it's a tough business to pick defenders. If you're looking for that differential, it's really tough right now, as clean sheets on the whole have been at a premium this season, historically low, as the extra minutes and extra time maybe a cause to that, or maybe the team's more attacking this season. But Zinchenko is the best needle move I could recommend this game week. Again, Arsenal play Wolves this game. Zinchenko is on for that clean sheet, and he's proven to be one who gravitates to the bonus points. So we could be on for Zinchenko, especially if he returns an assist this game week. So Zinchenko is your needle mover defender pick for game week 14. In midfield, we have Raheem the Dream Sterling of Chelsea, of course, now coming in at 7 million. Raheem scored a brilliant free kick last game week, and this game week he plays a depleted Brighton defense. I know Chelsea just took a heavy defeat from Newcastle. I mean, the regime's red card contributed to that, but I expect them to return to some sort of, return to the norm this game week and play a depleted Brighton team who also play in Europe this Thursday. So Raheem seems to be the guy on the free kicks. He's always been a magnet for goals, and I expect him to return heavily versus the Seagulls this game week. So Raheem Sterling is your needle movers midfielder pick for game week 14. And finally, in attack, I have another dynamic duo, just like in the proper thing segment. Last week, I had this guy on the watch list, as it was his first game back to see how it goes, and it was against Chelsea. This game week, he moves up to the needle movers, and that's the Swedish hitman in Newcastle forward, Alexander Isak, coming in at 7.4 million. I mean, there's nothing really to say much about the exploits of the Newcastle forwards. Callum Wilson had his time, but now he's injured, and Isaac just picked up where he left off before the injury. They do have a tough fixture this game week against United, but I expect Newcastle to come out and attack United at home, and Isaac will be at the forefront of that. He's also on pens, so I expect a big score from Alexander Isak. And if you are scared of Isak or you want something more explosive, I have Darwin Núñez of Liverpool. Darweezy is now coming in at 7.6 million. I've recommended him before and he's returned. But with Darwin, you also know what you get. The chances will come if it's that kind of week where he misses or he puts some in the back of the net. It's the most polarizing asset in the FPL world, especially when it comes to the forward thinking. So Darwin Núñez has the opportunity to explode again this game week against Fulham, coming in again at 7.6. You can't go wrong with this pick. He's currently also in my team, so I expect big things. But for those who looking for a striker who's not as highly owned as Haaland or Ollie Watkins, I think Darwin could be a guy, especially those looking to pivot away from Alvarez with a little bit of funds in their piggy bank. So Darwin Núñez and Alexander Isak, the dynamic duo as your needle movers forward picks for game week 14. Now with the needle mover picks signed and delivered, we move into the spilt milk segment. This is where I give the players that should be moved on from your team ASAP if they have become net negatives and need to be moved on. Because oh boy, they're funky, they're starting to smell. Last game week we went 3 for 3 with the assets that have become deadwood, with Romero, Matoma and Wilson all blanking. In this game week, in the defensive position, I have one Alisson. There's rumors that the Brazilian shot stopper picked up an injury that could rule him out again for multiple weeks. Even if he's not injured, I think having Alisson in goal right now locks up a valuable Liverpool spot that could be better used elsewhere in the squad, where you could have Salah, maybe a Tsimikas or Trent, according to how your budget reading, and a midfielder pick to boost Salah with Diaz, or maybe Darwin as I recommended in Needle Movers pick. So especially if Alisson is injured, you can't have 5.6 in the keeping position down missing multiple game weeks, especially during the busy Christmas season. So Alisson lands on your defenders spilt milk segment for game week 14. In midfield, well, we had a guy who I recommended last game week as a need mover pick. We're talking about Eze. We all know injuries suck, and unfortunately Eze had to leave the pitch due to one. He looked lively and almost scored last game week, but the news coming out is not good again. So Eze has to be moved on now, and he lands on the spilt milk list for game week 14. And finally, in the forward department, I'm seeing that there's still 3% owned on this guy worldwide in Rasmus Højlund. I hope none of our viewers are still holding this Danish man for Manchester United, because this one is funky. This one might not be spilt only, this could be spoiled. As we saw Anthony Martial deputize for him this game week, also scored a beautiful little clippers there versus Everton. So that's another worry for the Rasmus owners, as long to go with his Premier League form. So Rasmus, definite spilt milk forward pick for game week 14. And finally, to conclude the proper thing segment, we move into the wondering picks. These are the picks you should keep a keen eye on this game week to possibly make a move in the upcoming game weeks. And last game week, we went again 2 out of 3 with returns for the wondering picks. We had Luke Shaw with a nice clean sheet for Manchester United versus Everton, 6 points there. Palmer, no penalties, so unfortunately only returned 2 points versus Newcastle. And Isaac returned, banged in 1, banged in 2 bonus points as well to the tune of 8 points. So this game week now we're keeping a keen eye on Matty Cash, and not to bring him in, because remember, wondering picks is not only about bringing in players. You want to know what to do with your team this upcoming game weeks. For those who own Matty Cash, and even for those who don't own him, he has a game versus Bournemouth this game week, and there's a lot of talk that Matty Cash is not living up to his price, and it might be time to move him on, especially after a goose egg at 0 last game week, as he was pulled 45 minutes into the affair versus Tottenham at halftime. So we're keeping a keen eye versus Bournemouth to see how Matty Cash goes, if it's really time to sell, or if it's time to keep, and if you could bring him in. Because in game week 18, and that's a while off, but that is a blank. And Aston Villa have a premium game versus Sheffield, so Matty Cash could be a hold, it could be a sell, or maybe you want to bring him in. So definite wondering pick candidate here for game week 14, Matty Cash in the defending position. In midfield again, we have a big name, big point getter this season in Heung-min Son coming in at a whopping 9.7 million. Again, there's a lot of talks about what to do with Son this game week. If you own Son, I recommend you keep him versus Manchester City. Unfortunately, as a City fan, I have to admit that Son in previous seasons somehow finds a way to give us the business. Maybe this season could be different for us, for our sakes. But with the talks of Son not living up to the 9.7 million price tag, I think you give him this game week and then you make a call on if you want to move him on for someone else and allocate the funds better throughout the squad. If you don't have Son, I don't think you bring him in this game week, especially versus City. But you take a look to see if things get better and maybe you want to bring in the South Korean going forward, because he's definitely one of those guys who overachieves his XG. He's so efficient in front goal. But right now with the slow of injuries, it's a holding pattern for me with Son. If you have him, you keep him. If you don't have him, you don't bring him in. Keep a keen eye this game week to see how he goes, because there's no tougher test in FPL than Manchester City. And finally in attack, it's a guy that I call Casper because he misses so much time due to injuries, but he did return to the starting lineup for United last game week and scored a beautiful goal. Also won a penalty that my boy Marcus Rashford put away. You know, he fed the kids there to end November, fed them after Thanksgiving, but he still fed them. Talking about Anthony Martial from Manchester United, 6.4 million for the French hitman. Want to go under the radar right now. Tough game versus Newcastle United, but first we have to see if he gets the starting job versus the Toons. United also play in Europe this game week and in midweek as well, so we'll like to keep a keen eye on to see if Rasmus returns or not. But when Martial is fit, he is the out and out number 9 for Manchester United. And well, it couldn't get worse than Rasmus. So keeping a keen eye on Martial this game week to see how he goes versus Newcastle. And that ends the wondering pick segment for this game week, and also the proper thing segment for this game week. And now we move into a segment that debuted last episode that has gotten a lot of positive feedback. I'm speaking about the Proper Things Dream 11 segment. This is where I select a fantasy team of 15 with 11 starters to adhere to the 100 million budget that we had at the beginning of the season. Of course, if you have played the game from the beginning and you have that little extra funds, feel free to allocate them differently. But for the sake of this segment, we're doing it with 100 million. So if you take a look at the team this game week, of course we're playing the traditional, as we say, the 3-4-3. We go back to that formation. And in goal, we have Areola. No clean sheets since the Sheffield game. I mean, it's tough sledding for the boy. But at 4.3, he's in goal. The back three consists of Mikalenko, Lascelles, and Star Saliba. They're coming in now at 5.5 million. The midfield 4, Raheem the Dream Sterling, the FPL King in Mo Salah, Mbeumo, and Bukayo Saka. And the front three consists of Watkins, Darwin, and of course Erling Haaland. So that is the Dream 11 selection for this game week. This is especially for those who are looking to free hit. Again, if you have a little extra budget, you could probably tweak it a little bit, but for the sake of the segment with the $100 million cap we have, that is the 3-4-3 run in this game week. So good luck to everyone. Hopefully this team returns a haul of points, a slew of points. Now we move into another segment that debuted last game week. I'm speaking about the Captaincy Corner. I mean, the number one option last game week was Erling Haaland, and he returned the 7 points. So congrats to all those who captained him. I did say I put an asterisk next to Bowen on the availability. I loved him the most last game week, but the injury soured things. He didn't play, so hope you all had great vice captains if you went the Bowen route. Salah, Son, and Eze rounded out the top 5, but I recommended Ealing as the guy to go with last game week. In this game week, there's a change in the standings as the Salah-Haaland rivalry / war takes a turn now in favor of the Egyptian king for me, as Mo Salah is my favorite captain for this game week. As they take on Fulham at home at Anfield, we know how Salah is so prolific in home fixtures. Against Fulham, I expect him to return a lot of points, and I can't see the captaincy going any other way. So Mo Salah is my number 1 pick for captaincy this game week. In second place, it's the big Norwegian forward Erling Haaland. A premium game now versus Wolves as they have a slew of injuries in the backline. We saw them play 4 fullbacks this last game week. Erling Haaland seemed up to it last game week after all the talks of him not being able to lead Norway to the Euros. They were eliminated in the qualification stage. But Erling, unfortunately for me, comes below Salah this game week. And Watkins rounds out the top 3. I mean, these are the 3 premium assets they have floated about, and I don't think business will change this game week. So Salah, Haaland, and Watkins are 1, 2, 3 for me. Now at 4, is that for the players, you know, myself being an aggressive player, have to give my aggressive players a shout here with number 4, talking about Brian Mbeumo. I mean, he's become essential in all walks of FPL this game week and going forward. But if you want to play that fancy ball, that cheeky ball as I call it, you could put the armband on the boy. Expect him to return handsomely this game week as well, but I love the aforementioned 3 assets a lot more. But Mbeumo is for those guys looking to play that cheeky ball and go a little differential. And finally, to round the top 5, it's Starboy Saka if you're looking for the safe floor, it seems. Saka with the drip feed assists these last game weeks. A game versus Wolves, I expect him to return as well, but he comes in at 5th place in Captaincy Corner this game week. So that concludes the Captaincy Corner picks for game week 14. And now we shifting gears into the segment with the most banter. Again, it's one of the group chats with the most talks this game week. I'm talking about the one, the only race for the 10K. And now, with 13 game weeks completed, just a smidge over the 33%, while 1/3 of the race completed, as we have 38 game weeks, 13 in the bag now, we take a look at the table, and we see we have a new leader in the race for the 10K. We're talking about Nova Turient. You know, I could never really get the pronunciation of this team correct. Hope I did a better job this game week. And we're talking about Jeff Ramdas taking the lead this game week with an impressive 48 points, now tallying 827 points on the season. A quick look at how Jeff Ramdas set up his team in game week 13. We had Ariola in goal, 3 points, Semeka, Shah, and Shea and Anderson. No returns in defense there, 2-2-1 for the back 3. Gordon, nice pick there, 13 points. Salah captain, so 5/2 is 10. Diaby with a blank, and Son also blanking. Visa differential pick in the forward line, Haaland and Watkins. So Jeff Ramdas now is the leader, the favorite for the race in the race for the 10K. Congratulations again to Jeff Ramdas and Nova Turient. 827 points so far in the season. He took the lead now from the guy who's in second place, a guy who held the lead for a good few couple of weeks. I'm talking about Andre Roberts and Gameweek 12 with 823 points on the season. Came in with 41 points this last game week. So we know Andre is one of the top players according to the group chat. I expect a big bounce back from Gameweek 12 this game week. To round out the top 3, we have Bamboo United by Ricardo Mongo with an impressive 64 points this game week and 821 points on the season. Saz Boss Lads by FPL Trini at 820 and Dr. Phil Food by Kappa Ramcharan round out the top 5. 819 there for Dr. Phil Food. And looking at the top 10, we have Shane Sanka with Baruda FC, Return of the Savage by Brian Carrington, Sky Saw, Redemption by Stefan Ramkisoon, White Rice Party by Salim Buchun and Gorillas FC by Nicholas, rounding out the top 10. 811 points there. So you need to have at least 811 points to be in the top 10 right now in the TT FPL Pro-League. Stiff competition. So congrats again to the top 10. And now we're scrolling down a little bit there, looking for some players here. I see my little cousin here now playing the little back. Because he take a little slip. Pelican B, 798, 18 position this game week. I expect big things from him this game week, though, to bounce back into the top 10. Seeing Gaza Chubbs as FC by the creator himself, Ezra Ramdeen, 789 and 56 points this game week. And we scroll a little bit, but we don't have to scroll all the way down anymore. You know, at 58, you see a little green arrow next to my name there, Legacy 10X, making a little move up the table now. Finally, the car moving in the right direction. And a quick look at my team to see how I returned the 65 points. We had Onana in goal, Tsimikas, Cash, Saliba in the back three. Noah Blanc there from Cash, Gordon, Saka, Salah, and Mbuino in midfield. Darwin missed as my differential up top, Holland captain, and Watkins. So was my team this last game week. So that gives you the quick insight and the recap there of how the race for the 10K doing. Congrats to the top 10 managers and everyone in the league so far. I expect stiff competition now going into the second third of the race right now. The second leg of 3 in the race right now. Now with another month completed in the fantasy, we have a Manager of the Month award for November to give out. And now a quick look at the top 5 to see how it all shaked out. In 5th, we had Young Tools, Calvin Pear coming in with 172 points for the month of November. In 4th, we had Salzburg Lads, 177 points by FPL Trini. The top 3 in 3rd, we had Falls 9 FC by Javon Simon, coming in with 178 points on the month. Bamboo United, Ricardo Mongal, 180 points on the month. Got the silver and coming in first. Well, I am surprised. A lot of people surprised too. Boy, it's me. It's Legacy 10X by myself coming in with the November Manager of the Month, 184 points for the month. I told you all at the end of October that November had bounced back. You could clearly see that the car finally moving in the right direction. So that concludes the Manager of the Month update for November. And now we move into game week 14. We kick off another race to see who wins the coveted December Manager of the Month, as this month will have multiple game weeks, I think 7 game weeks. So we could see who reigns supreme for the holiday season. And now that you've stayed here through the entire episode and I've delivered all the fancy picks, the updates to the table Manager of the Month for November, now I want to give you an insight into my planned transfer for my team, what I'm doing this game week 14. Taking a look at my team right now, I plan to set up in the 3-4-3 formation with the armband on Salah, Onana, and Tsimikas, Cash, Saliba, Gordon, Saka, Salah, Mbuino, Darwin, Holland, and Watkins. Right now, I don't plan to make a transfer as I'm pretty comfortable with my team this game week. But if I were to make a transfer, it would definitely be a defensive one, with Matty Cash departing and Zinchenko coming in, as I do believe that Arsenal have one of the best defenses in the Premier League and also a nice schedule to go forward in the holiday season. Again, I do have Palmer on the bench and Taylor as well, who could come in and do a job for me, so I'm not pressed to play a starting 11, but with European games to play at the time of recording and with injuries, knock on wood, possible, we never know. But currently my thinking is to roll transfer, so nothing too fancy this week. Well, that brings us now to the end of Proper Things episode 17. Had a great time delivering the episode. I hope you all enjoyed the content. I hope you all will make those picks to rise ranks, get green arrows this game week. And don't forget, if you're liking the content, go down in the comment section and leave a little comment. If it's good, it's bad, it's ugly. And while you're there, you can like the vid. And of course, subscribe to the channel. I'll greatly appreciate it. So I hope you all stay safe. And don't forget to do proper things in all walks of life. I'll see you all next week.